to go to Arizona and spend a few days for the presbytery meetings and also continuing education seminars. It was really a fruitful time for about 4 days. And then from there, we took a road trip all the way up to Lake Tahoe, and then to Monterey Bay, and then to where my grandson is, Edwards Air Force Base, our daughter's home, and we spent a few days there. In between times in the evenings, I was able to prayerfully think about and prepare for New Year ministry plans as well. So I want to thank you all for your provisions and also God's wonderful, amazing grace. It was truly a wonderful time of learning and also a time of rest. If you look at people that are in faith, there are largely two different kinds of people. It usually shows when they encounter times of trouble. In ordinary times, you can't really tell. But if you hear their prayers and listen to how they talk about their circumstances, on the one hand, there are people who are always complaining, who are blaming the situation, who are blaming myself or other people, and sometimes outright blaming God for the hardship that they are in. And as a result of that, even though they are people of faith, they can't really experience the peace and the recovery and the well-being, knowing that God is in charge of my life, knowing that God is watching over me. On the other hand, there are people, no matter what the life circumstance, especially in times of trouble, when they are weak, when they are down and out, when things simply go wrong, when they're all by themselves. If you listen to them talk about their life conditions, and if you have an opportunity to hear them share about the content of their prayer, it's very different. It doesn't matter what life circumstance they are encountering, they are always filled with thanksgiving. The reason why they can do that is because they know God is their God, and just as God has promised, God is always with them, and they choose to believe that God is with them. In times when things are going well, when they feel well, but even in times when they don't feel well and things are not going so well, they know one thing, that God is their God and God is watching over them. Just as He has promised, God is with them. As a result of that, I don't really know everything, but one thing I know, God is with me and God is going to watch over me. He's going to protect me. Even this situation of hardship, I know God has a reason for it. God always leads me into the ways of goodness. Knowing this truth, having this confidence, allow this latter type of people of faith to always be filled with thanksgiving. Apostle Paul, of course, was the latter kind. He knew how to be thankful. He knew how to be joyful and rejoice always. He knew that God was always with him. At the end of our passage today, he says, I can do all things through Him who strengthens me. He's not talking about a brute strength because I am a person of faith. I am stronger than anybody else. He's not talking about anything about himself. He's not talking about the life circumstance God somehow molds and blesses because I have faith. Because I have faith, even though everybody else goes through life's troubles, I am omitted from these things. He's not claiming that at all. He's not describing that kind of a faith. The world might. People who have a lot of money, people who have a lot of strength, people who are housed in the most flamboyant life circumstances and environment, they might claim that, but the kind of strength that Apostle Paul is claiming is very different. His life circumstance is just like anybody else, but he is saying, I have a certain strength. And the strength that he's describing is this gift of faith, an absolute faith in God. God who is with me